Yo, what are you doing right now?
The big V. Look, man.
All right, man. Let's just jump right into this shit.
I made my wife wake up and drive me there anyway.
You...
It's a major.
Pasar con eso? Pasar con español?
¿Qué pasó, papá? ¿Cómo estás? Any questions?
Now, when you bought that sweater, right? You just go, fuck it. I'm going full Mr. Rogers. You've tuned into the Man Chatter podcast. Just talk shit.
We are live.
Oh shit, we back, man. It's been, dude, how long has it been? It's been a week. Cause it feels like a lot longer because we've been working on, me working on the shirts and you working on the website to get our shit up and running. It's been a monster, bro. So I know you were up to like 2 a.m. last night.
And then I had to scrap what I was doing.
You didn't like it?
I didn't like it. I was frustrated, so I had to choose a different theme. But we didn't talk about this before the show, but I got a confession to make.
Okay. You're finally gonna come out.
Listen,
it's 2020. Still fully accept you.
I'm glad you love me, man. You know what I mean? I'm glad you're my brother.
Unconditional brother love, bro.
Yeah, I mean it's a pretty close to coming out, right? I heard a song yesterday after we were coming back from the trails. We went to this waterfall, and I actually had seen a parody or a meme about it earlier in the week, and then I heard the actual song yesterday, and it just brought me back to high school. I was like a junior, maybe senior, I don't know. And I realized, you know what? I can't keep this in anymore. I gotta come out and say it. I gotta let the world know I was a Backstreet Boys fan.
Oh, son!
I can admit that now. I can admit it now.
Wait a second.
I know I'm the one that introduced you to TP2.com, Music Soul Child.
Don't say it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Backstreet, son?
Yeah.
Backstreet? Listen. Wow, I'm stunned. I'm gonna need to say I got rocked. I'm up against the cage right now, but I got my hands up, but I really don't know what's going on.
You're looking like DC right now.
Yeah, son, I'm looking like DC against Steve. I got the same hair. And I got the same, almost similar body to DC. Son, Backstreet was, I don't know what to say right now. What? All right, let me get back how did you, like, I got to get, this is going to be like a whole, like, conversation, like an interview shit. Now, were you playing, was it on your Spotify playlist? Were you just, like, listening to, like, 90s white kids? Like what?
It was something like that. It was like 90s. It was from on Apple Music. I think I just selected one of these stations that it was 90s pop or 90s 2000s pop or whatever, and it came up. So yeah, that's what it was. And then earlier in the week, I had seen like the memes and the whatever. I don't know what show I saw it on, a rerun of something. But yeah. Then the song came on yesterday. I was like, you know what?
Which song was it?
I think it was Quit Playing Games with My Heart. I think that's what it was. But then what's the other one? No, it wasn't even that one. What was the other one? The one that goes Backstreet. No, son. Backstreet's Back.
Backstreet's Back. Yeah, they actually played it at the end of The End. That movie that we talked about the last podcast with James Franco and
Yeah. I think that's what got me thinking about it too, because I thought back to the movie.
They were there. Yeah, he's like, if you think of anything, it'll just show up. Then it goes, how that beat hits from that song, and they're like, oh shit, Backstreet, the Backstreet Boys, and everybody starts doing the dance. That shit.
Yeah,
right there. Like, come listen. There's no way you didn't know about Backstreet Boys back in the day. Like, you might have hated them, but there was girls wearing shirts all over school. Like, Backstreet was everywhere. Like that and Nsync. The same pedophile started them both, right? Because the dude ended up being like a pedophile, right? Like, he ended up going to like jail because he like molested one of them, like one of the former boy bands or some shit. I might
Was he?
be
I don't know.
wrong, but
That
I'm
guy
pretty sure.
launched like a number of boy bands, so it.
Well, I know he stole from him, and then he allegedly like did some other shit. Like I know he stole from him. Yeah, because he launched like Nsync, Backstreet Boys, Old Town, like you name a boy band in the '90s,
Yeah,
he launched them out of Orlando.
yeah. It was that dude out
Because
of
Old Town
Orlando.
is
Yep.
yeah, that creepy dude with like that was bald headed. They kind of look like that the guy who like released the dragon the not the dragons the fucking the T-Rex and shit in Jurassic Park that was trying to steal that canister. You know what I mean? He had it in his like canister of soup, and he got killed by the spitting fucking dinosaur.
Yeah, yeah.
Remember the one that like flaps up his wings and goes ah and spits on him? That's kind of what that dude looked like.
I don't even remember that, like what
You
those
remember
characters
Jurassic
look
Park?
like. I remember Jurassic Park. The fact that this movie came out in '93, the fact that you remember what they
94.
look like, no.
94. Yeah, 100. Dude, it's on Netflix now. All three of them. All three of them are on Netflix.
Oh Jesus, Lou
You gotta remember that
Pearlman.
part.
He looks, yeah. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Yeah, but
Accused of
I
running
think,
one
like,
of the
Rob-
largest and longest running Ponzi schemes. Accused of running a Ponzi scheme worth $300 million.
he's a Madoff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Weird how they get to
Jesus.
do that. Probably spent a couple of years at Club Fed and played golf and shit and chilled. And spent some time with Epstein, probably.
More than likely. Yeah.
Allegedly.
You know what's funny is that these Backstreet Boys were like in their late 20s, 30s already when they started. I'm like, these guys are the heartthrobs for these tweeners that are,
Yes.
you
A little
know,
weird, right?
that was a little weird.
Little, and now they do like I think a couple not now obviously because of the pandemic, but they used to do like tours and stuff with other like boy bands, but these dudes are like in their 50s now, right? Because they were in like their late 20s, early 30s when we were kids, right? Like 20 years ago. So that means they're in their late 40s, early 50s now.
Backstreet, yeah, it's like they're in their 30s and 40s, I think. They gotta
Yeah,
be because
yeah.
they were in their
That's-
20s for sure when we were in high school.
That's-
AJ was
that's
already
still
losing
old,
his
bro.
hair.
Yeah. He had the plugs in. Dude, you know their names, bro?
I remember
their names?
I remember one of them. I mean, I remember a couple of them. Like who's the one? What's his name? Justin Timberlake from Nsync, right? Everyone remembers that dude.
Obviously, everybody knows that
But
one.
I
Yeah.
just remember that dude AJ because that guy looked like he was 30 something, and you have these like 15-year-old girls that are
like
going crazy over
for
all
him.
of them. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a little weird. Like if you look back at it, like with like the 2020 vision with the like, hey, wait, why is there grown ass men being chased by little girls and they're like taking pictures with them and shit? Like it's a little strange, bro. It's a little strange when you look at it like that.
Speaking of 2020 vision, I had to go back and check. That dude is 42 years old.
That's
Jesus.
old as fuck.
So he was,
That's old.
20 something.
And they're still called the boy band. It's a little weird,
I
right?
don't know. Apparently, he's still a member of the Backstreet Boys, so they haven't disbanded. I don't know if they're making a comeback.
No, they're still touring, bro. No, they've still been touring and all that shit. None of them ever did anything otherwise.
Right.
They still play those like they're like most other like rock bands that just play music from like 50 years ago and still tour and sell out arenas and stadiums. Like they don't come out with new albums. They just play the classics and they make a great career for themselves. Like, look, I'm not knocking them. Like I remember I saw some shit from like Hanson. You remember Hanson? They like have an island where they like bring their like biggest fans and like they have a concert for them. Like it's a whole weekend, but it's like a whole like package deal. Like it's like $10,000 or some shit. Like it's crazy.
Jesus.
Like Hanson got money like that to have an island.
I mean,
Like,
they were.
had
You
one-
remember they were
had
selling out stadiums when they were
kids.
Yeah, when they were kids,
Like,
and when they
legit
were
kids.
when they were the boy band, they were selling out stadiums.
Yeah.
So imagine all that
How long
money they
were-
got.
I did not think we were gonna have a boy band conversation on this. We didn't even like discuss this before. Earlier, we're like, "Hey man, what the fuck we gonna talk about?" I've been designing shirts. You've been creating a website. Like, what we gonna talk about? You bust out with the fact that you have a Backstreet Boys tattoo.
Okay,
This
now
is just-
hold on a second.
But wait, listen.
Hold on a
Back,
second.
right?
I
Lower
said
back.
I said
Lower
I
back,
liked
right?
listening to the
Lower
Backstreet
back?
Boys.
All right. Nsync was better though, man. I remember that was like a thing in middle school. Like girls would like beef over that shit. Like,
Yeah.
Justin, no, Jake. Like, who the fuck cares, man? Like, I don't even know who these people are. Well, all right, cool, whatever you got to do, whatever.
You
makes
know,
feel
there's
better.
one. There's besides Justin Timberlake. There's what's that dude's name? Joey Fatone.
Yeah,
So
the one with the beard.
I know him as Joey Fat One because I watch.
That's
Well, he was the fat one,
that's
but I
he
watch.
was the fat one. Yeah.
Damn, what's the name of that show with the pranksters?
Oh, and Practical Jokers.
Yeah, Practical Jokers. Yeah, yeah. So they're
The
friends with him,
dumbest.
and
I
so they
hate
they
that show,
call
bro.
him they call him Joey Fat One. So he'll come on the show, or he used to come on the show when I used to watch it, and
Never liked that show.
he made a career out of doing stuff like that and being a presenter or
Yeah,
host and other stuff. I mean, obviously he wasn't gonna be the heartthrob.
no,
He never was like he was already he
no.
was already.
He was
I
the
was
fat one.
thinking, I'm like, how
He
did
was the
that
fat
dude
one.
make it on the like? How did he make it on the band? Like,
Yeah,
what?
no, I don't know. Like, I don't think any of them could sing, right? Like, I don't think. I think the only one that could sing from Nsync was like Justin and that other dude, that I can't remember the name of. But there was like it was a 5-person band, and I only think 2 of them could sing. The other ones just like held up a mic and acted like they could.
That's all you need
Maybe
to
they
do.
could hold a note.
I
I
mean,
mean, that's all
you
you need to
remember
do.
Milli Vanilli? They couldn't sing. Neither one of them could sing.
Neither one of them. Neither one really sang. That's the other shit.
Right.
That's fucking crazy.
Exactly.
Fucking
How crazy is
Backstreet
that
Boys,
shit?
bro.
If they were doing that back
Speaking
in
of
the '90s, where you had someone else recording and then you'd lip sync at concerts, don't you
yeah,
think they're doing that shit now?
100%. They do that at performances now, like Mariah Carey lip syncs. Like, dude, there's tons of people who lip sync
But I mean,
because they just want
like
to.
another Milli Vanilli going on right now, where someone doesn't have like
Actual singing
it's
shit.
not their
Yeah,
voice. They're just lip syncing the entire time, and maybe they have a voice a
Now,
little bit,
now you have auto tune, right? Like
right? And you have
now they
autotune.
just like now you just correct them digitally. Like Britney Spears is like that. Sorry, Josh Diaz, my cousin. I know you're a big Britney fan, but
Yeah,
lip syncing is, you know what I mean? Like auto tune is what it is. The original T Pain. Even though T Pain can actually sing
he
though.
can. Yep.
As yeah, he can actually sing. So too bad for death of auto tune because Jay-Z killed him with that shit. But um hey, speaking of middle-aged men, right? That are trying to hold on to their heyday. Started watching Cobra Kai on Netflix,
Uh huh.
and it's frustrating. Like, these dudes are in their 50s, right? But like they're still like petty like kids. I'm thinking, I was like, dude, I'm like just like as a writer, like just looking at it as like a creative person, right? Like, you don't think they've evolved just a little bit? Like, I guess like the bullying shit stays with you, and I get all that, but like they're still the same people they were 40 years ago, or how, you know what I mean? Or like
They're trying to
when the
recreate that
Karate
feeling
Kid,
of that movie from the '80s now with
yeah,
50 year
but
old
like
men.
it doesn't work when they're 50-year-old men. Like, if you haven't watched the show, first of all, it came out. It was a YouTube show.
Okay,
Then
good.
Netflix
That's what I
bought
thought
it.
it was.
Yeah, yeah, it was a YouTube show, and then Netflix bought it. So I'm watching it, and I'm just like, okay, I get it. You know what I mean? Like, I thought it was gonna be more so like telling the story of like of the Cobra Kai guy who lost. You know what I mean? And like him trying to pick himself up because he's a loser. Yeah, well, all this shit, and it's just like, yeah, he never grew up from that moment that he lost to LaRusso. Like, he never moved
Ralph
on from
Macchio.
that. Like, that's yeah, Ralph Macchio. His whole moment and his entire life was that All Valley tournament, and then he just like replays it, and it's cool like because they play like the clips from the movie, but it's weird, dude. Like, and now now he has like a new studio. Like, I finished the first season, but like I'm not gonna watch the second season, like because like now it's just like turning them back into Cobra Kai. Like, he's supposed to be the guy that turns them better. You know what I mean? Because he didn't want to be that guy. Like, that's the whole thing.
Hmm.
But now it's like they got the old sensei back. I was like, oh, then you're just giving me like the origin story of what made Cobra Kai the bad guys,
Right.
quote unquote. Like, I didn't want to see that. I
A
thought, like,
bunch
yo,
of kids
flip
that
the
got
script, make
picked
them.
on, and then they just became Cobra
Yeah,
Kai. And instead of shooting up a
yeah,
fucking
exactly.
school, they joined a
They
taekwondo or a
fight.
karate dojo to beat the shit out of these other
Yeah,
kids.
basically the entire show. You just
Wow.
said it right there. And then like this next season, it's like I saw the trailer. I was like, I'm not watching this shit. Now it's just like fights everywhere in school. Oh, it's a cult. It's this, it's that. And I'm like, all right, bro, I'm out. Like, I'm out. Like, because now all you've done is I already know how this ends. I already know how this ends. I saw Karate Kid. Like, I already know what the ending of this is. So stupid.
Yeah, well, when they came out on YouTube, because that's what I remember a couple years ago when they came out on YouTube, YouTube Red,
Right.
whatever they were called, and I started watching the trailer, and it looked I thought to myself, okay, I can watch this. But then as the trailer went along, I realized, oh, it's not going to be some kind of redemption story where like these
Yep.
guys team up to guide misguided youths. It's just
Yep.
this dude living in the past and
Yep.
trying to relive, like that moment of victory or whatever that was stolen from him. I was like, nah, I'm
Yep.
good. I'll pass on this show. I saw the movie. The
Yeah.
original
That's and
was
that's
fun. I don't think I want to watch it with 50-year-old dudes.
yeah. Like the originals. Like I was watching. I was like, and like I think I was like halfway through like the ninth episode because till then it was all right. And then like it just did this turn where like the main character, the young kid, right now is like becoming bad. Or I'm like, okay, now you're just okay. So now it's just Cobra Kai. Now it's not like that's just so what then Cobra Kai is just like that poisoned organization.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? That like no matter they're never gonna be good because the leader like the Johnny Lawrence or whatever the character's name is, he's not he's kind of still a coward. You know what I mean? He's still remember because if you remember like Karate Kid 1, he like gets choked out by his sensei.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Like he gets choked out, and then like Mr. Miyagi saves him, beats the dude's ass. But like he's still in that moment where like he's still like that scared little kid, but he's like 50. I was like, all right, bro. Like let's grow a little bit.
Yeah, what
You
does
know what
that
I
tell
mean?
you about
Like
the people that enjoy the show? Like they haven't. Does it tell you that they just want to relive like that '80s movie, or does it
yeah,
tell you that like they haven't? The people that really like the show that they're still living in the past too. Because I thought to
yeah,
myself,
and
like
dude,
I've changed a little bit. I don't want to watch the same thing. Like you guys are 50
yeah,
year old men. You
no,
should have grown by now. Give me something different.
yeah.
Be a little
Like
more creative.
at some point, like I don't know if it was like it was becoming different, right? Like because there was this one episode where he was like, "Oh, I was bullied too," and he's talking to like his class or whatever.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, this could go one way. I was like, okay, he could help like that, like help misguided youth, kids that are bullied, picked on, yada yada. And then he doesn't, and like that, like so that scene meant nothing. You know what I mean? Like he never like tries to redeem them. It doesn't evolve into anything. It's just like that one thing where like he gets them to believe in him, and then it continues to be a drunk. I'm like, bro, this is stupid. Like it's just like every time, like I don't know. I was like, I'm not watching season 2. Like I gave it one season. Thank
Right.
God there were like 20-minute episodes or 30-minute
Hmm.
episodes, and I'm good. If I'm good, I'm all set. I got the story. Next one they're gonna be fighting each other, and fucking LaRusso starts a dojo, and nah, I'm good. I'm good, bro.
Yeah, and then
School
he's gonna hit
fights,
him with
I'm all
that
set.
crane
I've seen
kick.
the yeah. No, that's what they did in like in the first in the end of the first season. Like the guy's son, Lawrence, like Johnny Lawrence as a kid,
Uh huh.
and then he trains under he trains under Larusso, and then he does like the special kick, like but it wasn't the crane kick. Yeah, it was just like, all right, bro, I'm all set. I'm all set.
If
Yeah,
do
but
right,
middle
no can defend.
no can defend. Yeah, that's all it is.
Uh,
And then he does the crank. I don't know. It was I'm like I'm all set, bro. I don't need to fucking
Yeah, there's a comic
watch this
that does
shit
an
anymore.
entire bit about that. I can't even remember who it was. Where he goes, "If do right, no can defend." But he's like, "Yes, yes, can defend." You're
Can
telegraphing the whole
defend.
goddamn thing.
Exactly. I know exactly what you're gonna do. You're gonna try to kick me in the face.
Oh
It
Jesus!
was just weird. Yeah, but it was just people who never grew up. So that stays in line with like the Backstreet Boys, right? Like they stayed in that moment. They're like the the Jurassic Park mosquito that sucked on the blood of the dinosaur. Like they're just encapsulated in time. Like
Yeah.
that's all they'll ever be. So yeah, but it was crazy. I was like, all right, I'm all set. And then we watched Life. You remember Life? Eddie
With Eddie
Murphy and
Murphy?
Martin Lawrence.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
like Life. Yes.
man, that is a classic, bro. I was
Yep.
laughing my ass off yesterday. Laughing my
The cornbread.
when the can't get right. Yeah, the cornbread when can't get right has sex with with the superintendent's daughter, and then he's walking around to all the black dudes like, is it you? Is it you?
Oh
Is
god,
it you? It was a good one. It was a good movie.
that was
Bernie
a
Mac's in
classic.
that, man. Rest in peace, B Mac.
Who's that?
But yeah, dude, Bernie Mac.
Oh yeah, that's
Bernie
right.
Mac's in that. I think that might have been one of his first like movie acting credits.
Damn.
Jing and Lang, Jing and Lang. Yeah, the movie's like 20 years old, bro. 90, I think it was like 97, 98. I don't know.
It
It's
was.
crazy.
It was late '90s. Shit.
We're old, bro. Like that shit was 20 years ago, and we watched that shit. And now we like get to rewatch it. Fucking crazy.
what can you do? Speaking of, you mentioned earlier using 2020 sort of hindsight, right? Or 2020 with how we
Yeah.
find ourselves now with everything. We're talking about the
Yep.
Backstreet Boys and this and their manager. I've seen a lot of people. God, I can't remember their name, but the same thing that happened with Kevin Hart, where he was crucified pretty much for something he did 7, 8 years ago. Something he said,
Oh yeah, the
right?
tweets.
The
Yeah.
tweets, and it
Yeah.
happened recently again with somebody. Like, what is it with this cancel culture that they keep going back whenever someone comes up for a position or for a part or whatever it is? They're like, well, what about this thing you did 10 years ago? It's like, yeah,
Yeah.
they did it ten
Yeah.
years ago. They apologized. People
Yeah.
grow.
Yeah.
Most of the
Yeah.
time, people
Dude.
grow. Like, what do you
Yes.
want them to do? Do they need? They don't need to apologize again. Kevin Hart didn't have to apologize again. He had already done so. His
Yeah.
comedy had
Over and
evolved.
over again.
Yeah, his comedy had evolved
Yes.
because that was the type of comedy he did. Like that's a lot of the stuff that he did. It was hilarious. That's what
Yeah, I
he.
remember the joke.
Yeah,
I remember the joke. Like he said, he like if his son wanted like to play with dolls, he'd like hit him over the head with like, dude. It was like, who cares? Like you can't. I don't know. I don't understand like the
it's also a joke.
retroactive.
It's also a joke, and
Yeah,
then maybe he
it's
did feel that
also a
way
joke.
because you're a guy, and you don't. That's just natural to feel that way. But at the end of the
Yeah,
day, he loves his kids, and he was making jokes. People went there to listen to him make jokes. They knew
yeah,
what his act was, and
yeah. If
as
you
the
can't stand that joke, don't go see Andrew Schultz. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like, don't go see other comedians. Like, I think I yeah, I don't understand like I think about that shit sometimes when we record, right?
Hmm.
Like, man, with like that Patreon episode that we did, right? Where the whole Chris D'Elia thing, right? Where I'm like, man, it's like, is this like funny shit talking thing gonna be like when we hit it big and people were like, oh, but Ben said this on the podcast on episode whatever the fuck, like, yeah, I mean, like it's just talk. Like I'm not making it I'm not writing it into law. You know what I mean? I'm not.
Hmm.
It's obvious if you listen to it. I'm laughing the whole time, like retroactive. Like for you to be punished or like your job loss for something you said is weird to me, right? Because like it's weird how like First Amendment rights are like situational,
Hmm.
but like if you're a comedian, you know they're there to push the boundaries.
Right.
You know what I mean? You're there to like laugh at shit like that might be inappropriate that you might not want to laugh at.
Hmm.
Like Tom Segura jokes about, you know what I'm saying retard and different shit like that. It's weird,
I
right?
still
Like we
like saying
grew
that
up
word.
saying all these words. I'm still a big fan of it,
Still say
100%.
it.
Like all the time. You're fucking retarded. You're fucking retarded. Like
Yes, you are.
it
And then I
rolls
turn
off the
around
tongue.
and
You know?
I look at Javi and I'd be like, "Hey, you're not supposed to
Don't you
say
say that
that,
word?
or you'll get
Yeah.
kicked out of school. You won't be able to find a job. You
Yes.
won't get into MIT."
For the
But what
for
that
the
guy
rest
did
of
was
your life.
retarded. Just so you know,
Yeah.
completely.
Yeah. 100%. Completely retarded. Like it should be like a teaching moment. You know what I mean? Like it shouldn't be like you gotta lose everything because you said this one thing that people might not like in the future.
Right.
Like you know how hard it is then to like have a conversation. Like wait, I got to think of everything I'm going to say here because if I say the wrong thing, I could offend somebody possibly. Like the fuck, no man. I say offensive shit all the time. So like, it's what I'm like to like. But I'm not saying that like to offend somebody in the future. Like in that moment, I think it's funny. Like I'll give you an example, right? This might be fucked up, but it is what it is. Our logo, right, that I happen to be wearing on my Manchester football T-shirt.
Big
Here.
ass logo.
Uh, big ass logo. You know, again, big ass head. It couldn't fit my head in your eyes, Forrest Whitaker. Wouldn't have worked.
Double Forrest
You know what I'm
Whitaker.
saying? Double Forrest Whitaker. You know what I'm saying? Like you got the double lazy eye. Like I go, Danny hits me up with, "Hey man, why do you look yellow?" Right? I go, "Look, man, I'm trying to sell out to China faster than LeBron." Was that offensive? Probably.
Maybe.
But did LeBron sell out to China like a motherfucker? Yes.
Absolutely.
Immediately.
Yep.
Because and with every joke, there's a little bit of truth. Right? So obviously, I mean, it is what it is, dude. Like, I'm not saying that like no, that's not real life, but you gotta be able to laugh at some shit and say some shit. Like, I'll never purposely go out of my way to like hurt somebody's feeling unless I want to fight them. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's never like, but let me just talk my shit and you talk your shit. Like the cancel culture is why you have such a massive overcorrectness for it. You know what I mean? Like why people are being so over the top in the opposite way. Like, oh, you can't let me say what I'm gonna say, so like now I'm gonna show up and do this. You know what I mean? I don't know.
I
It's
don't I
weird.
don't get it because where were these people growing up? You and I, we grew up, and then our other friends, and we grew up with
Yeah.
friends of from all colors, right? All walks of life,
Right.
different even
Yes.
socioeconomic situations. So we
Yes.
had black friends and white friends and poorer friends
Rich
and
friends
rich friends,
and rich
and
friends.
we
Yep.
all talked shit to each other, and we all said
Yes.
racial stuff to each other,
A
right?
100%.
All the
Yes.
time. Being we weren't trying to put anyone down. We weren't
Nope.
being malicious with it. We would give it to someone and they would give it right back.
Yep.
And you
There was no
can't say
tears. There was no
it was all in good
anything
fun, man. It
anymore.
was all a
Yeah.
brotherhood. And now you can't do that because you might lose your job. You might not get a job. Something that like something you and I say here,
Your
someone's
kid
gonna
might
find a
get kicked out of
clip.
school.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
crazy that
Yeah.
people's feelings get hurt. And I get it because I tell Javi all the time, hey, words have meaning, words are important.
Hmm.
Uh, we're we're having a conversation, we're having fun,
Yeah.
and people
Yep.
will take these words out of context, which is why it's
Yes.
important that words do have meaning, but you have to keep everything in context.
Yes.
And everyone wants to make a big deal out of everything, and sometimes there's no big deal to be made, especially when they take something out of a conversation and they just put a quote out there.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Again,
I
why
mean,
I
they
can't
did that
stand
too.
way like left liberals out there. I can't
I
have
don't like.
conversations with them
The
either.
thing is, like, I don't. I don't know. I don't know if I've actually met anybody like that. Like, there's that part of me where, look,
I
we'll
did.
shit on conspiracy theories. Yeah, you started the barista thing, right?
No, but
Your hatred of baristas.
I met someone that's that sensitive at work. When I mean
One person, though.
when Trump
One
won,
person.
one person, and then there was this dude who was like it's not like he was trying to sleep with her. It was this older, heavy set woman. She was super liberal, super whatever, bleeding heart liberal.
White liberal. Was she
Yeah,
a white liberal?
yeah.
Okay, just
Trump
checking.
wins,
Hmm.
and we had been having lunch. Like that, this group of people we got hired on at the same time, so we would have lunch together. It was like six, seven of us. Trump wins, so we had been working together for 4 months in the same agency. And I say, the next day, we were having lunch or breakfast or something, and I say, "Oh, my guy won. All right." She's right across the table from me. She was already bawling or something. She was very upset before I even said that.
That's so weird.
So
That's
when I
so
say
weird.
that, she looks at me like if looks could kill,
You'd be dead,
dude. And then the guy next to her is
and
like,
that would
"Oh,
be a
how are
real.
you so insensitive?" And I look at both of them. I'm like, "How do you not have a sense of humor? Have we not been sitting at the same table for the last 4 months? Do you not know
Right.
that I
You've
wasn't
been
supporting that
cracking.
guy? But what am I
Yeah.
gonna do? Come to work or live my life the next day and just cry about it? I wasn't
Hmm.
supporting
Hmm.
him. I still didn't want him to win. I don't want him to win this time around. But what am I gonna do? Cry about
Yeah.
it? I made a joke.
True.
Come on. Don't I said don't turn this around on me. If you're gonna act like that, you know what? Let's not talk to each other anymore because I don't need to be around people like that. And we haven't talked to each other since.
That's so weird.
It's
I've never been around any. I've never been anybody around anybody. Well, I guess because it's weird, right? Because you live in a red county too. Like you live
yeah.
in a mostly red state. I live in a very except for like Miami, Orlando, Tampa. It's basically a red state,
Yeah.
right? Like obviously the populations can skew it one way or the other because
Hmm.
more people live in those cities over rural areas. But I haven't been around anybody like that. But I will say I've been around like sensitive conservatives. You know what I mean? That like do the same thing. You know what I mean? And we've talked about it, right?
Yeah.
Where they're like, oh, you can't say that. No, I was like, no, but it's extortion, right? No, but I don't think so. You know what I mean? Or give me 5 reasons why he's like, you know what I mean? Like this,
Yeah.
I told you, there's the huge overlap for me, right? There's a huge overlap for me for white conservatives and white liberals, right? Where like to me they're basically the same person. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? And obviously speaking the purely on identity side, like not like how they identify themselves and shit like that. And it's this weird thing where like you have to be cautious with both of them what you're saying, but both of them would also outcry like why you shouldn't be cautious. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, oh, you should be able like white conservatives to me are the worst because they'll be like, oh no, white liberals or this or that. But like, all right, let's have an honest conversation. Like, but then that honest conversation skews to like I have to be cautious into how I say things because they, you know what I mean. They might get triggered. They're the one they also fully believe in cancel culture,
Oh yeah.
right? Like like Goodyear said some shit about supporting Black Lives Matter. Everybody's like, oh, cancel Goodyear. I was like, huh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I thought conservatives were all about saying whatever the fuck you wanted, being able to say the N word
Listen,
and living your best life because that's what you want.
I
Right?
have one of those. Neighbors, gun owner, all this, but anytime something happens that's not to his point of view, he says that very same thing you said. Well, hey, just boycott them. Don't buy from them.
That's canceling.
And so I jokingly say, "Oh, come on, you're not a snowflake, are you?" I was like,
Yeah.
"You're not a liberal snowflake, are you? Where you're just gonna boycott a company because they just voiced their opinion?"
Yep. Weird, huh? Weird
Weird.
how that is. And it's the same thing with it's the same thing with like the NFL, right? Or any sports. It was like you're not allowed to have an opinion that bought like they're not allowed to have an opinion because they so once they start making money, they stop having opinions, stop having feelings, stop having political views.
Mm-hmm.
It's not real life. Like you literally have a guy who ran for office and won the presidency that was all set because of his political views and you only knew him because he was a celebrity.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like there's this weird thing that like they never look in the mirror and are like, oh man, I'm a huge hypocrite. Like, hey dude, the only reason you like if LeBron James right now, right? LeBron came out and was fully Blue Lives Matter and all that shit, they would be on his dick. They'd be you think Candace Owens is big?
Yeah,
You think Candace Owens
they dump her ass right
what?
away. They're like,
Right
Candace who?
away. They don't even have Candace Owens at the press at the RNC, but they had like Scott Baio in 2016. They're ready to suck every celebrity's dick, bro. The moment any of them say like they jumped on Vince Vaughn's balls. Again, it's you could have your political views and have them, bro. Don't give a fuck about them.
Yeah,
But you also have to realize that you're high in the cancel culture shit.
yeah.
That's why the Kansas City fans were booing the Kansas City Chiefs and the Houston Texans on Thursday night. When I think one player kneeled out of both teams. And all that one team didn't come onto the field,
Mm-hmm.
and which was the Texans and the Chiefs just like locked arms. And there was like 19,000 people in the stadium, and I don't know how many people there were booing, but it was audible the people booing the teams. I was like, bro, then why are you there? Like what? Like why are you there? Like you're there just for the attention. If you're gonna boo the sport that you're showing up for during a pandemic, and you take that time out to boo, like that's crazy to me. That was so weird.
But it's also the right. It's also the right to boo, right?
Yeah, 100%. But then don't show up. You know what I mean? Then take the cancel culture to yourself and just be like, I'm not spending that money because Hey, listen, Patrick Mahomes got $500 million.
Yeah.
Those Chiefs tickets can't be cheap, bro, because they got to pay for that
They
shit.
got to pay for that. I mean, you're right. I don't get it. You're gonna show up to the game. You know that someone's going to kneel or do something you're gonna disagree with politically, and you're gonna boo.
Yeah.
Like, so if when you're booing, what does that mean? You're trying to cancel that player, right? Get him off the field.
Yeah.
Don't do this. Don't bring politics. If you're gonna do this, sit on the bench. Well, if you're trying to cancel these people, then why are you going to the game?
Yeah. And you know what's weird is like what it said, like because I didn't watch. I saw like the pictures, like the billboards or the huge screen TVs, the Teletrons or whatever. All they had was like end racism, justice for all, like very generic.
Right.
You know what I mean? Things that everybody should be for. Like it wasn't like again, like Ryan Clark said it best. Like I'll send you the clip after where he goes, "Look, man, like they did the most mundane, vanilla. If you want to call it a protest.
Right.
Like they didn't take a step in any direction. They took that middle ground, just like the Cowboys did back in the day when the protests first started, where they just walked in the middle of the field and they like all linked arms.
And
They didn't
Jerry
do
Jones
anything.
was there with them, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and Jerry Jones was there with like they did the most mundane shit where it was like, and that's still a problem. And Ryan Clark said it. I'll paraphrase it where he goes, "That just shows you that they're booing you as black people. Like all you're saying is like, look, man, we just want equality. Like
Yeah.
when something happens, we just want to be treated the same as this other person. That's it, dude. Like that's the whole trick. That guy, like who knew? Who knew that's what they wanted, right? Like that's it. Like if something happens to them, They want the person who did it to be held accountable. That's it. They don't want extra treatment. They don't want money. Like a lot of people would rather have their loved ones over the money they're given by the city.
Yeah.
Sorry to break it to you. You know what I mean? Where that becomes the whole argument. Like that's all they want. Like even J.J. Watt was like, man, I don't know why they're booing us. All we're asking is for unity. Hey, bro, because they don't want that.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Because to a lot, look, this is the weird, like the blessing that we have being Hispanic, right? Where we get to be chameleons. And I was thinking about this earlier. Like we get to blend, we get to go into both parties, right? And both races in that, like the black and white, you know what I mean? And get to blend because you know what I mean. You're a fair skinned Hispanic. I'm a little bit darker, but
I'm not this white, by the way. It's all these lights on me. I am fair skin, but not this fair skin. Look at the T-shirt.
To the logo, you're way
look
darker.
At the T-shirt. That's the real skin tone right there.
Yeah, but yeah, like we get to blend in and like go in and out of groups that most people don't get to go into. So I think we have a different perspective than most people, right? Like the ones that are honest about it, because there's the ones that like, oh, I identify as white, or you know what I mean, I identify as black. Then it becomes different. Like for those who just like stay true to Hispanic, you know what I mean, being Latino and all that shit. Not that Latinx shit. That's new shit. I don't fuck with that new shit. I don't fuck with that update. I'm still on the old model. I mean,
yeah, I'm not getting the new iPhone, man.
I'm not getting the new iPhone, bro. I don't give a fuck if you keep killing my battery. I'm good. You know what I mean? I'm all set. That's why I'm Android anyway. But we get to see these two things where I'm like, dude, like one group had to literally fight for the right to vote, affirmative action, just to be given the same kind of opportunities, while what the other one wasn't. All they're saying now is, and as a people, they're like, look, when something bad happens to them, the person who did it gets punished. Not an excuse, not Burger King, not a GoFundMe, not any of these things. You know what I mean? Like that person should be persecuted to the highest extent of the law, because if it was the other way around, you know, those same GoFundMes wouldn't happen.
Right.
So that same outcry wouldn't happen. It would be totally different. So there's a clear bias, and yes, like it's just so weird. Like I'm just looking at it like, oh well, this is obvious. Like to me, it's overwhelming evidence. It's empirical evidence now. It's not even anecdotal anymore. But can't even have those arguments because the shooter in Kenosha got over $1 million in his GoFundMe. Real quick though, whoever started that got rich as shit, because right wingers are known to grift the fuck out of people.
Yeah.
So whoever you guys give that $1 million to might just be some asshole. You're not gonna see it back. Just like the build the wall GoFundMe.
Yeah.
Your money's gone, bro. Your money's gone. I don't know. Went a little long there, but you get it.
Yeah, man. So, man, I think I think that's all I have for this episode, man.
Yeah, right. It's started out with your. I don't understand why you got a Backstreet Boys tattoo though.
Listen,
then
man.
we don't have to talk
By
about
the way,
that.
Look, there is no Backstreet Boys tattoo. All right.
No, it's fine.
All right.
No, there is. There is, all right. There is.
There isn't.
Yeah, you got Nick Carter tattooed on your lower back, right?
I don't, man.
Right?
I don't.
Yeah, you do. A little bit. He wrote like you got a signature at a show, and you like, oh my god, I need this on my lower back.
What are you doing to Kevin Hart? Oh my god!
Transmitted oh my god, that's my voice for all situations. That's the Kevin Hart. No, why would you do this? No,
Jesus.
That's the only interpretation I have. All right, my brother. I think we're good, man.
All right, man. I'll catch you on the next one.
Peace.
Peace.